my name is Bea and you are welcome to my channel. For this episode, this is another Draw With Me, and today I am drawing my ultimate favorite ship in the MHA universe, which is Tododeku, which is, if you don't know yet, it's Todoroki Shoto and Izuku Midoriya. This whole painting actually took me 10 hours, but with my awesome editing skills, I managed to compress the entire workflow and the process into just 39 minutes. So this is me drawing for 10 hours. Not straight though, but 10 hours. Very big number. Anyway, enough with that. I'm going to describe my drawing process. So for my sketching phase, I use what's called the silhouette method, which is essentially blocking the shapes before actually proceeding with the sketch. This way you actually know where the characters are placed and if the composition is okay. What I do is that I block these shapes using a low opacity lasso tool so that the shapes can overlap and define the different parts of the character. For example, the arms, the head, and then I turn that layer into a lower opacity, and then I make another new layer, and that's where the actual sketching phase begins, like so. While sketching, might as well just talk about how I came to like this ship. So we know that in the earlier seasons, right, Shoto Todoroki and Izuku Midoriya are rivals. They didn't really start off as friends, because Shoto, because of his upbringing, he had a hard time opening up to other people because, he wasn't really close with his own siblings because of his father. That dude, Endeavor, I don't like him, by the way. It only took the sports festival for Izuku to make Shoto Todoroki realize that it's Shoto's power, it's Shoto's quirk, not his father's. So he doesn't have to be ashamed of using his fire side because it's his power, And that's a really big turning point in Shoto's life because up until now, he used to suppress his fire powers and only used his ice side as a way to rebel against his father, And as he started to use his fire side, he also started warming up to Midoriya and his other classmates from class 1A. And I was like, whoa, this is the ultimate rivals to friends to lovers trope. And I live for that stuff. I love friends to lovers. I think that's the ideal way to start a very strong and healthy relationship with someone. And so I really love that trope. You can see my AO3, the manhwas, the webtoons I watch, they're usually all friends to lovers, if not rivals to friends to lovers. I love that stuff. Oh my god, I'm getting too carried away of making them lovers right away, but as the seasons progresses, you can see that Izuku Midoriya and Shoto Todoroki are actively looking out for each other now, especially the incident wherein, what do you call this? Ingenium or Tenya Ida was in danger because, he wanted to take revenge for his brother that was harmed by Stain, like the hero killer. And with one call away, Izuku literally called Shoto, and just sent his location without any words. And minutes later, Shoto was already there in the scene with with Izuku and Tenya Ida, ready to help, And I was like, whoa, he's one call away. I was like, wow. I know you clicked on this video because you're also a Tododeku fan. And because of that, I'm going to keep rambling about them. And I do hope that you already watched the whole anime because I'm going to say stuff that is kinda spoilers, but not too much spoilers, but at the same time, it's still spoilers. So watch this at your own risk. Now let's move on why I like Shoto and Izuku so much. Let's start with Izuku. So we know that Izuku wasn't born with a quirk. He tried everything to make his non-existent quirk show up. Like, he tried levitating stuff, he tried breathing out fire, but nothing worked. But despite that, he still studied heroes, because in his own way, he still wanted to become a hero. And so I was really happy when, you know, All Might gave him a chance to fulfill his dreams, to help people, and to become a hero. And he really just proved himself worthy of that quirk. But of course, having the one for all quirk doesn't automatically turn you into another All Might. The one for all quirk destroys the body of the holder if they're not strong enough to handle that quirk. And so it explains why All Might has that very big physique, right? And so Izuku had to work his ass off just so that his body won't, suffer when he inherits All for One. Or rather, One for All. Oh my god, All for One, I hate that dude. And even after he got the quirk, he had everything, he had every right to be like very arrogant about it, but no, he always thought of his past. He always reflected on why he wanted to become a hero in the first place. It's because he wanted to help people. He didn't become a hero just to feel powerful. He didn't become a hero just to become rich, and famous. He wasn't there for the glory. Izuku just wanted to become a hero because he wanted to help people, and that's one of the many traits that I want about him, that I very love about him. Like, he's very genuine, and he always have one clear goal in mind, and he was always determined to save other people even at the cost of his own safety. That's kind of a con because, bro, as much as I love him seeing Izuku save other people, I want him to, take care of himself too, but I guess he's too selfless to do that. But, I'm glad he also has friends, especially Shoto, to, like, protect him, because, Izuku has the tendency to carry the entire world's burden on his shoulders. He always thinks that he could just carry it himself, when in reality he has a lot of people that are there to support him. Oh my god, I'm tearing up. And for this part, spoiler alert, I was so freaking devastated when he had to give up One for All just to save everyone during the war. I was like, that's the most beautiful, at the same time selfless, and at the same time most painful thing that a character can do just to save the people. Like, bro, One for All was his everything, and he was willing to give up his everything because what mattered more to him was the safety of his friends and family and everyone around him. I love Izuku Midoriya so much. I love him. He's genuinely such a great person and the greatest hero of all time. He's the GOAT, bro. Oh wow, I say the word, or rather phrase, too much. Oh my god, girl, stop. Anyway, as for Shoto, we know that he grew up in an environment wherein affection was not normalized. His father did not show an ounce of affection towards Shoto and his other siblings. He was just focused on training Shoto to become the hero that surpasses Endeavor, and probably the hero that surpasses All Might. That's essentially what drives his father to, create more children with Rei, just so that he makes the perfect child, the perfect hero, so that instead of him, that kid would be the person who will finally surpass his rival, which is All Might. How crazy is that? Like, how could you be a father and your intentions of birthing or making a child in this world is just so that they will continue your personal goals instead of yourself, and not just have a child because you want to love them and you want to raise them. Oh my gosh, I do not like Endeavor. I hate him. And so because of his upbringing, because of his environment, he wasn't of course, the type of person or child to easily have good relationships with his peers, because he was not even taught how to socialize in the first place. He was just taught to social. No, he was just taught on how to hone his abilities in order to become the perfect hero. I mean, how effed up is that? How messed up is that, right? But, after the incident with Deku, with Izuku during the sports festival, that's the turning point in his life, like I said earlier, that made him warm up to people around him, to the people that genuinely care about him. And, Shoto had every excuse to be an a-hole, to not treat people around him as good. He had every excuse to become a bad person because he was essentially made to become an arrogant hero that's only known for their strength and not their compassion and empathy with other people. But no, he went against all odds and became a good person, the complete opposite of his father. And that's one of the things that I really admire about Shoto, because as a psychology student, being a child's formative years is the most important and most detrimental phase in his life, in their life, that really affects who you are when you become an adult. And so, despite Shoto being subjected to everyday punishments from his father mistreating his siblings and even his mother, he still grew up into the person that is very compassionate, very kind, and he's a hero that wants to save people, that wants to help people. And he's not the type of hero that's only there for the power, glory, or fame. And that's what I really like about Shoto, He didn't grow up to be his father, despite his father ensuring that Shoto becomes like him or more powerful than him. No, Shoto is still his own person, and he didn't let anything stop him from being a good person. Wow, I had a lot to say about that. It's actually so nice that I managed to pour out these feelings, because my friends aren't necessarily in the same fandom as me, and so this is a good way of actually voicing out my thoughts about the anime. I just love My Hero Academia so much. I wish in the future there's more content of them post time skip to see how they're doing as heroes. I think that would be really interesting to watch. And I really want to see my favorite characters live their dreams. Finally, right? I mean, they're essentially 16-year-olds being forced to battle because the pro heroes, which are adults, are not competent enough to fight the dangers that they're supposed to handle in the first place. I mean, look at that. It's honestly so insane if you think about it, Literal, an army of 16-year-olds managed to fight off the evil that's been plaguing them for years and years. Instead of the adults, the pro heroes that are there to defend the country. But I guess it's about the plot. But still, I'm not complaining, because if these 16-year-olds weren't even needed in the first place, then how can I see Deku living to become the greatest hero of all time, right? Anyway, the reason why I drew this artwork is because I wanted to see how Izuku and Shoto would spend their day offs. We can see here that they're riding a train, right? In this artwork, I just imagine Izuku coming home from UA to go to their shared apartment with Shoto. It makes me giggle by the thought of it. Anyway, and so we know that these two people are very humble. So I thought putting them in the subway would be a good idea. Even though that we know that in the post time skip, Deku has a very nice car. But I think he would be the type of person that would ride the subway from time to time. And I can just imagine the faces of the people when he rides the subway. They're going to be like, "Whoa, it's Deku Sensei. It's Teacher Deku." Or if they're a bit older, "Oh my gosh, it's Deku the hero." I think that it would be really nice to imagine that, and so I decided to illustrate it myself. I really like that as an artist, I have my creative freedom to draw my imagination. Although I do feel like sometimes I'm not creative enough. I don't know if that's true, but if I am not creative enough, then I'll just have to work on that and try to be more imaginative, you know. As long as I'm living, I still have all the time to improve, art included. Enough of the My Hero Academia yapping. Now is the right time to describe my drawing process. I can't possibly talk during this whole 39-minute drawing video, right? Right? Well, anyway, in this phase, I am currently laying off the base colors, and what I did before that is that I chose a color that's going to be the underpainting, and then I use a brush that can change opacity depending on the pressure to put the base colors on top. That way, the colors will be more cohesive and they will look good as a whole. I think that doing that really brings the whole illustration together because the colors are in harmony. Right now I'm using a default round brush that changes opacity depending on the pressure for the laying of the base colors, but I also use that for rendering because I really like how you could play around with its texture and it kind of gives off a watercolor feel. As you can see here, I'm laying the blush now on the cheeks, and this is one of my favorite parts because it really makes the skin look alive. And here's another one of my favorite parts. This time, from the base colors, I am slapping on extra colors that would really make the colors of the illustration more interesting. I shift the color wheel slightly onto blue so that Izuku's hair would have different shades of colors and not just green. And as you can see here, it really makes it a lot more unique, you know? Don't be afraid to use colors that you think would suit this illustration because colors really do matter when you're drawing because it dictates what the mood of the drawing will be like and how interesting it looks like to the viewer's eye. Oh my gosh, I really love putting the blush on my drawings. If you do the same, if you do love it as well, do say so in the comments because it can't possibly just be just me, right? I'm pretty sure someone out there also loves putting on blush. It's like putting on makeup. I'm still going to be talking from time to time, but I'll let you guys watch the process and then I'll just explain my drawing process along the way when new phases are being introduced. Now we're done with the coloring, and now I made a linear burn layer with a desaturated blue over the two characters, and then I used the eraser tool to map out the parts where the light is hitting. As you can see here, I prefer using the linear burn layer a lot more than using multiply, because when I use multiply, I noticed that the shadows are a lot more duller in comparison to linear burn, in which the shadows are more vibrant and gives a lot more contrast. I suggest you guys give it a try as well. Okay, moving on. This is a crucial part in when you want to make your drawings look more painterly or more rendered, I guess. This is when I lower the opacity of the line art by around 50 to 70% so that it's not as harsh and it's ready to be painted over in comparison to when you're painting over solid lines. I really enjoyed rendering the eyes. Looking back on my art style, I've never been the type of person to have an art style that focuses on having really big, bright, shiny, detailed eyes, but now that I've been putting more focus into painting eyes, I found it really fun. Like, whoa, we know that the eyes are the window to the soul, right? And I really like it when a painting or an illustration has really good eyes, when the eyes are the focal point of the drawing. I find that really cool. So my thought process during this eye rendering part was like, oh, maybe I should really lock in and try to find a rendering style that fits me, my tastes, and my drawing process. What am I even talking about at this point? Am I the only one that struggles to draw eyebrows? Because I can't do them for frick's sake. I would definitely not be cut out to be a brow artist. I can't even draw my own brows, to be honest. So why am I expecting to do to do my drawings brows well? Is it just me, or is this just a skill issue? Oh yeah, this is another one of my favorite parts, the drawing here. So recently, I have said earlier that I wasn't really the type of girl that does rendering a lot, because before I didn't really want to spend a lot of time drawing, but now that that mindset really took a 180, because I love rendering. Like, I really like how the initial sketch looks so different compared to its final version, you know? And I really like how I really like how I give details to the hair, making the textures and stuff, and adding more colors to make it more vibrant and lively and interesting to the eyes. And so, it's safe to say, I really fell in love with rendering. So, I hope you guys get mesmerized by this rendering process as much as I did, because I really loved doing it. I love rendering, I love painting. Oh my gosh. And oh, by the way, if I didn't say it earlier, the brush that I use is just a default round brush that varies in opacity depending on the amount of pressure that you give it. So it's just a basic brush. Yet it's my favorite, and I think it's the most suitable for my art style. How about you? What's your go-to brush when it comes to rendering? I'd like to know in the comments. Yay, I'm now rendering Shoto. I think it's not visible in this like drawing video, but I redid Shoto's face. I essentially gave him plastic surgery because my initial rendering of him I wasn't really satisfied with it. So I changed it. I painted over it, and I don't regret it because it looks a lot better. So remember this, if you're not satisfied with how your drawing looks, it's okay to start over again than being stuck, you know? Than being stuck with something that you don't really like. So that's really something that you need to remember. Oh my gosh, look at that hair rendering, bro. I'm so proud of it. I really like how I did the highlights and the stray hairs and stuff. I think it really adds that pizzazz, you know? It adds that extra oomph, that extra wow to your drawings. Can we talk about how good I rendered these folds? I was really proud of it because, oh my gosh, if you asked me to draw a piece of clothing without any references, I would be just like, huh? I don't know how to. It would just look like random clumps of BS, you know? So, looking back on this process, I'm really proud of this because who knew I can render decently as long as I have a reference? I mean, I think if I continue to practice rendering such things, I would be better at it in the future. Yeah, I need to lock in. I need to lock in, bro. This is so satisfying though. Please watch it. Like, wow. The blockings of the shadows, and then the refinement of the folds, and the soft edges and the textures are wow. And that wraps up this episode. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know in the comments what you want me to draw next. Goodbye. Thank you.